and they're just going to continue to get bad. And people really do need to realise that this is affecting every town, every community. Just last night in Tunbridge Wells, another incident where a mother had to go and collect her daughter from a nightclub because two men had threatened to kill her outside and waited up the road. It's everywhere. We need you. We've got a big protest on Saturday. I've supported Crowborough since this started, and I've never ever asked any of you to attend. And I really would be ever so grateful if as many of you as possible can come down and join us on Saturday in Dover. Numbers are what makes us be listened to. If there's just a few of us there, we get laughed at. But everyone's talking about this. It's on everyone's lips. Everyone now needs to get up and actually do something. Please support outside your local town. We need you. We are the Pink Ladies. We will be protesting against all illegal migration that is coming into the country down in Dover on Saturday, 1:30. Please, please, please be there. Thank you.
Okay, we've got two more very important guys going to speak, and we'll start with Mike.
So, if most of you don't know me, my name is Michael Lunn. I'm a district councillor for Wealdon, and I'm also one of the newly elected East Sussex County councillors. I've written a speech, but actually I'm probably going to move away from it because what I want to share with you is that both myself and Andrew Wilson have been inside the camp. And I want to share with you some of my observations of what I saw and the concerns. So, first thing I saw, there's a lot more in there than I ever imagined. It's pretty much close to capacity. And when you look at the nature of the management of the site, they are mixing up all the nationalities, all the religious groups in terms of the housing, and where they are contained in the communal areas, there is up to 2 security guys in every area where they are to prevent fights. They are trying to do this to contain them in terms of what's going on. And after about 90 days, they are effectively, a decision is made whether they can stay or whether they go. But actually they do stay because they've got a 2-year appeal process which they can go on to. So after 90 days, they have moved on to what they call dispersal accommodation around the country. At the moment, there's none in Wealdon, at the moment, but they are very much likely to be dispersed across Wealdon. They're certainly being dispersed across the East Sussex area. So I was really concerned about that. The other issue is they're shipping them out to Crawley, 3 buses a day, and that's why most of them are contained inside the camp and not coming out. But I suspect once the judicial review is either completed, it goes ahead or doesn't go ahead, as soon as the Home Office think they've got a green light, they're going to scale back. It's costing them £1 million a month. It's a lot higher than hotels. And really we need the audit office to be literally conducting a full-blown audit on the costs of this running these camps. It's not as cheap as hotels, it's costing a lot more. So I believe that things are going to get worse in Crowborough. I think coming into the winter months is going to get really difficult because at the moment you walk into the camp, they're sitting on the grass, they're all this other stuff like positive discrimination, allowing people to come over here to say that they're free and war. But when it gets to winter, it gets nasty, and the wind, they're going to be looking to go elsewhere, and they're not going to be running the minibuses as much. So where are they going to go? They're going to come into town.
This
and
is
there's
where I
hundreds
think
of them in there. Literally
like I
hundreds.
say, take
I was
down
absolutely
this,
shocked.
take down my
What I was also shocked to learn is that there are 2 charities that are going in there on a regular basis, including district councillors and town councillors. They're supporting them with English lessons. They've got lawyers in there to try and sort out
mass civil unrest. Civil unrest, yeah. It's not being caused by
all
us.
kinds of stuff, all kinds of services. It's absolutely unbelievable the support that they're getting. And my concern, do you remember Rachel Millwood? We talked about the money that the Home Office.
But yeah, there's massive
the Home Office was talking about giving Wealdon District Council £1,200 per migrant.
And the main thing is my
Well, apparently that money, according to the Home Office, can only be spent on the migrants themselves. and nothing to support the local community.
In a lot of boards,
We've challenged that. We've actually raised that with the Home Office and with our local MP to say that is not good enough. There are a portion of that money, which is about £680,000 per annum, should come to the community to appease what's going on. It should not be going to those local charities in that county.
should not be entitled to benefits. Should not be entitled to
The other issue that me and Andrew are also raising is about now the change has been made, and again the Home Office has lied yet again about continuing the camp until 2030. There has to be regulations around planning, and I'm calling on the leaders of Wilton District Council, which is Rachel Milne and James Partridge, to actually start doing something. No talk, actually do something for our community. Because at the moment they've done sweet FA. They've done nothing.
Yes,
So I would encourage you, please continue to put pressure on James Partridge and Rachel Millward around the planning conditions, because at the moment they are breaching planning in terms of the permanency of the site. The other thing I'm concerned about, at the moment they're talking about 540, I have no doubt that the Home Office is seeing this as a success. Shall I tell you why? Because there's been no problems. According to them, there's been no problems. There's been no problems in terms of the protests. There's been no problems inside the camp, even though there has. And so far as they're concerned, it's a success. So I suspect they're going to look to expand it to up to 1,000 migrants in that camp. And I think they'll also look to make it permanent. So whilst we have got this government, it's going to be a real concern. And so that judicial review is absolutely important, that we somehow get the funding together. I don't know how we do it, but try and get the funding to try and get that first phase of that judicial review in process. So I know it's hard, it's a lot of money, but my God, we're all progressing it later on. So I think that's all I want to say today. Thank you very much, everybody.
The main thing for me
Thank you, Michael. I mean, a lot has been said over the last weeks, so I want to talk a little bit more about the national issue. Because, as you can imagine, Michael and I pay a lot of attention to what the government's actually doing here. But on Friday, the Home Office didn't just extend the training camp until 2030. It essentially admitted something. It said the quiet bit out loud. Government doesn't think it can solve this small boat crisis. If it did, it wouldn't be extending the use of this camp until 2030. Remember, this government only has a mandate until 2029. So they've extended the camp until 1 year after they won't be in office, and quite frankly, I think there'll probably be a general election next year anyway, so maybe we can get rid of them then. But for years, successive governments have promised to get the asylum crisis under control.
strict rules,
And
bring prosperity.
new ministers, new announcements, always the same promise. The hotels remain open. The government says that they've
tuning in,
shut a
everybody.
few of them, and that they're closing the asylum backlog. But actually, what's happening, Michael just said, is the appeals backlog is just growing. So these quick decisions are being made in 3 months. But the Inspectorate of Border Security and Immigration put out a release on Friday night criticising the quality of the decisions that are being made, not just in the interview process. The asylum decision quality is poor. And if memory serves, something like 54% of the decisions are all open to effective challenge in the appeal process, because the initial decision making is so abysmally poor. So that costs us more, and as Michael said, the people that are appealing these processes, they are in discretionary accommodation, they are in and amongst communities up and down the country. So Crowborough has been told to prepare for another 4 years, and that's not solving the crisis, it's planning for one. The government stopped planning to solve it, it's just going to manage the asylum crisis now. And the extension of Crowborough isn't a solution, it's a contingency plan.
I know we've had our little spouts here.
So tomorrow,
I've tried to keep out of most of
later this
My
week,
honest opinion is, and I've said
Siobhan Mahmood is expected to announce another of her initiatives, and her idea is to implement a much wider scheme similar to the one that we had in 2022 when the Ukrainian war commenced with Russia invading Ukraine. Crowborough opened its doors to a lot of Ukrainian refugees through that process. And they were families that came over here. Mothers, children, and the town opened its doors and we were a welcoming community and we are a welcoming community. But Ukraine is unique. And trying to apply that model to Sudan, Afghanistan, Syria, and elsewhere is a completely different proposition. And I don't think it will stop the votes. When people say they have to live somewhere,
no, I agree, it was.
And of course they do,
I think it was a bit extreme.
but that isn't the question that comes up in my mind. The question is why, after years of promises and billions of pounds, communities like Crowborough, and now communities in Oxfordshire, Suffolk and Yorkshire, are being asked to pay the price. So every failed government policy has to happen somewhere. But let me say this, opposing the camp doesn't make people unkind. Wanting to secure our borders doesn't make people inhuman. Kindness is not pretending that the difficult problem doesn't exist. And Crowborough has become a symbol of the national failure of this government to control our border. So I'm going to leave you with this. This has never been about who these men are. It has always been about what the government has become. A government that asks ordinary communities like ours to pay the price for their extraordinary failures.
Honestly, a massive appreciation for
The protest on the 4th of July, 1:30 p.m. Shakespeare Beach is over. So please go and support it. It was so important.
That's a shame.
And thank you so much for everybody.
Take care, everybody, guys.
Please come and contribute to my birthday next year. The year is a long time. Thank you very much, Crowborough, for everything you do. So appreciated.
Happy birthday, dear Gary. Happy birthday to you. Hey! 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 You won't eat that one. You won't eat that one.
Very old chap. Thank you very much, everyone.
He's got his own song, Happy Birthday to Gary. Happy birthday to Gary. Right. Sweet.
See you later.
You off, yeah? See you in a bit. Right, that's the end of the Crowborough protest. Love to every single one of you. Appreciate you all being here. Take care of yourselves, everyone. Stay vigilant. Love to every one of you. Thank you to the mods, thank you to anyone that's donated. Keep your head above water. Don't be a dick. And stay humble.
seeing you again.
Take care.
Look after yourself. Sorry? Yeah, I know. I'm being better. Yeah. You take care.
It's just a load of bollocks. Hate for our army. It's a good job. They'd be well annoyed if it was a Conservative government, because we'd be helping America to do the bombings. They'd have more to be angry about.
Was you expecting a bigger turnout than this then, guys, yeah? Yeah, you van things. Yeah. Excuse me, the best thing with us. No. It blew away. It blew. Listen, it blew away. It blew away. Yeah. They honestly, they filmed it. Hey, hold that side. Look, hold that side. And I'll let you do that now. At the end of the day, you've got your opportunity to have that. I'm not going to stamp on your thing. Come on, I ain't stopped you from blowing away.
This is societal feedback.
You don't like I did that, yeah. Honestly, I stopped you from blowing away. Why didn't you push it here?
Palestine solidarity campaign. Why didn't you say that?
I just want to say hello. Monday media.
Okay, mate.
I've been watching your stuff recently. Gave you a few comments.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
So the organisation.
Yeah. My kind of thought process here is like say, to get society back, we all need to reach within ourselves and find our best version of ourselves, build ourselves up, train your mind, train your body, and then you can get yourself a community, get yourself a brotherhood, then you can start looking after your community, you start looking after your towns, and eventually we can create a movement where we can install direct democracy in this country and stop the bullshit that's happening. You know, the main thing is, and this is where I think we've got to look at, 90% of the stuff that these guys protest about, we probably would agree with them. If they came out here and started to try and talk about the system in general, we would probably agree with it on the right. But they want to come to Armed Forces Day and disrupt Armed Forces Day, which, you know, it's a family day out. People join the army for a variety of reasons. They don't join to kill people or anything like that. Most of them, like myself, I was in the Grenadier Guard, so I came from a broken background and I joined the army, so basically just to better my own life. But then obviously you get these people who are trying to protest against the individuals rather than the system in general. So that's where we have problems. And that's why I think it's important for us to come out here.
What are you missing?
Yeah, this is a breach of their Section 14.
You think you're coming from a Gen X background. I don't know whether you're Gen X or millennial, but that is the general Gen X child background, of which all of their children have been brought up to believe in oppressed and oppressors, and everything's about feelings, not about the things you just spoke about. And that's our problem, and that's why people like Reform and Restore want to re-implement new curricula in education systems and in society, which will take quite a while. It'll take generations. And we've got to get them away from this, because these people they're all in the police. They've all been taught. They've all been taught all of their shit by everybody.
No, I agree,
we've got
definitely.
a big problem in actually getting to where you want to get to.
Yeah, no, 100%, mate. See you, buddy.
She's not part of the protest anyway, we just do anything, it's not part of the protest. Are you expecting many of them?
No one's letting on going off. Catch some burglars now. Catch some burglars and some rapists and things now.
Can everybody see the screen all right? Am I better today? Is this screen a lot clearer? Don't want to leave my table. Do you agree with the statement, or? Okay. What for then? What for? Right, do you want to take a seat, mate? Yeah, I'll tell you what. Yeah, stand that side. But so the main thing, like this, I'm saying this is good. So, do you believe a woman? Yeah, Angie, what's your name? Matt. Okay, Steve. Right. So my main question to you is: if a woman came up to you and said that she had been a victim of a rape, what would your initial thought process be? Would you believe the woman, or would you say, you know what, she's talking shit?
Total stranger.
So yeah, just anybody. So if a woman was in the, I can face it out if you want, but yeah, so it's very familiar. So if like I say, if a woman came up to you, or you'd seen a story in the news where it said a young girl has been raped or a woman's been raped, what would your initial thought process be? I'm not trying to trip you up here. Just say what you want to say.
Yeah, I would probably. I'm a musician in Leeds. There's not much I can do to help.
No.
So
yeah.
I would immediately say, let me help you go to someone who can actually do something about it.
Sorry,
talking to the police about it.
Yeah, so I think we've misinterpreted. So would your thought process be, yeah, I believe that person, or would it be, no, I think you're talking shit?
Neither.
Yeah.
I would not have enough. Okay, if she's saying that the attacker has followed her, then I would, make sure she's not alone.
Okay, yeah.
My priority is that she is safe, and that if there is an attacker, that attacker is persecuted. So my actions wouldn't be focused on trying to analyse her story. It would be on making sure that justice is served in whatever way.
Okay, so let's say, but my main thing is, let's say, for example, you heard a story in the newspaper where it was like, where there's documented evidence where it's a case of a young girl has been found in a building with a bunch of men, and there's evidence there, she's drunk, she's claiming that she's been raped. Would you automatically think, nah, she's talking crap,
She's drunk in a building with a load of men.
Yeah, grown men, young girl. You'd think this is dodgy, yeah. So we know there's 250,000 victims of the grooming gangs around the country. Obviously, as you can see on here, look, there's a QR code if you want to scan that afterwards as well. But all these areas where the grooming gangs are known to have been prolific. So we know there's 250,000 victims, yeah, and the perpetrators, they're in the thousands. They're predominantly, you're talking, but there's no real number, but at the minute they reckon there's about 6,000 or 7,000 minimum, because that's the absolute minimum. The problem is at the minute they're still compiling all this data, because the problem is it looks like there's even a lot more. It could even be like 50,000. But then, in all honesty, you could then switch it around and say a lot of these men, they're all related and they're going around to these places. So somebody who's done something in Leeds, for example, might be the same in Derby. Yeah. So, but in the fact of the matter is,
it's a huge number
yeah,
of horrible people.
Yeah, they're in the thousands. Do you think that kind of behaviour should be allowed into our country if they are not from this country?
If they are not from this country.
So their heritage is not from this country.
Do we have the figures on that? If you're saying 6,000 to 7,000 from
yeah, 90. Yeah. Okay.
50,000.
Yeah.
How many of that 50,000 are not from the country?
There was an Oxford imam who said 95% of those men were Pakistani males. 95%.
Why are you trusting them?
Because it's an imam. It's an imam.
Yeah, but crime should be measured not by religious leaders.
No. This is we're talking. This is the inquiry. So the inquiry is something different. It's a case of they find something out, they compile evidence, they're taking statements. Yeah. So according to this, there's a Muslim imam, so somebody who's not got any kind of bias or anything like that to turn around and say, oh yeah, it was the Muslims, but a Muslim imam who has now received death threats, so has had to move from his area. He says it's 95% Muslims. Yeah.
The whole figure of grooming gangs in this country is 95% Muslims, said by one imam.
No, it's not that. That's one imam that's compiled the data and spoken outright. The data is obviously there.
Much larger than that, is it not?
Yeah. It's still ongoing. This is what the initial things here.
So the whole inquiry is to be summed up by one individual who doesn't even.
There's somebody who's compiled data. So it's that idea of if you compile data.
Okay, but like it takes more than one person to compile data, and data compiled surrounding a crime shouldn't be compiled by anyone who is not of a profession that deals with crime, such as the police.
No, that's what the inquiry.
I don't think that that is a good source. I do think it's an interesting source because, like you've rightly said, like he doesn't sound like someone who's going to be biased against Muslims.
And then it's the thing, but when you also turn around and say, I don't agree with that, you're kind of disrespect, as harsh as it sounds, you're kind of disrespecting the victims. Because if the victims are coming around and saying, but there was literally tens of Pakistani men that were doing it to me.
But you've said thousands.
But yeah, no, so we're talking one individual. So out of one individual.
5% of 7,000 is more than 6,000. That's, what's it, 6,650. So you're saying one person has said that it was 6,650 Pakistanis.
No.
Another person has said.
It's not that, no. So you've missed
that there were tens of Pakistani men. All I'm saying is that you've compiled so far in this conversation, and I'm open to continuing the conversation, so far you've compiled 2 accusers. No, there's 250,000 victims, yeah? Every single person, and that's it, have you read the rape gang inquiry? Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying, so you understand it in there.
Other sources do not suggest that it is 95% Pakistani men. That is a very different statistic.
But let's just turn around again. Okay. For argument's sake, right, let's turn around and take the percentages out of the way. You have got a problem because the Quran teaches you that women are underneath men. There are several times. I've even got one here. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it does. And there's 5 passages there that turn around and said, if you're a Muslim man, you're above the woman, and a Muslim is above all else. Yeah. And have you heard of
men are above women?
I mean, to be honest with you, we can have a look at it. It's Shura Baron 234, something like that. But we can have a look at it if you want afterwards. And we can get it out. I've got it in here. Yeah.
My understanding from reading it is that there are different rules towards men than there are towards women. But not that there is a perception of better stuff.
No, like I say, I do get what you're saying there, right? But it is a common factor, and it's a common, like, men can't pray in the same place as women. Women have to wear hijabs. I mean, like even down to that point, that's an oppressive garment to women. Well, you've read the Quran. Where in the Quran does it say a woman should wear the hijab or the niqab?
It's in the hadith.
So the reason why it was, the veil became a thing when Muhammad was going around with his army and they were raping the populations. It got to that point where people were complaining to Muhammad saying, you guys are raping my wife. This person's raped my wife. And it was like, right, okay, I've got to do something here. So he said, right, everybody wear the veil. All the Quran talks about is dressing up respectively, covering your ankles and covering your shoulders and your breast area. That's all it talks about. So the fact of the matter is, the Quran refers to women as almost like object-like. It's that idea that a man can do whatever he can once, but then also there's that idea of, if you read the hadiths as well and listen to them, a man can marry a non-Muslim woman, but a woman cannot marry a non-Muslim man. So the idea is it's stacked up against men. And all these people, these gangs that have gone down, they've been served and they've been sentenced to years. They've gone in and said, but it's in my culture, it's in my book, it's in the Quran. And there's 25 Muslim MPs. Which one of those 25 has turned around and tried to dismantle the problem that we've got with Muslims and grooming gangs? Which one of them has tried to dismantle it? They're leaders and spokesmen of their country and their people and their culture. What have they done to speak out?
Would you not argue that their mere the fact that they're not doing the same is enough to speak out? Their action is...
No, they are leaders of their community. They are leaders of the country. So when they are leaders of the country, and all this time Muslims were turning around and saying, we need equal representation, we need people to represent us. And they do what every single time they get up in PMQs, it's always to talk about the Muslims. It's always to talk about the Muslims. It's never 2 seconds, sorry. It's always to talk about their areas and their Muslims. They don't talk about anything else. They don't talk about what they can do to improve their areas in general. It's just about the Muslims, this, Islamophobia, this and this and that.
What percentage of Muslims do you think are criminals?
Probably the same as much as it is white people. Probably the same as much. I mean, in terms of like, when you break it down into different types. So, for example, it's a case of black men statistically are more likely to murder than white. That's just from a proportional representation.
Okay, so you believe that, you said that you believe that Muslims are as likely to be criminals as white people.
Say again, sorry.
So I asked you what percentage of Muslims you think are criminals, and you said about the same as white, right?
I mean, so overall, when it comes to different specific data, you have to start breaking it down. The problems that you've got, if you look at the top 10 European countries that have got the biggest crime rates, yeah, if you look at the ones that are in the UK, you've got Coventry, you've got London, Birmingham, all the places that are in the top 10 all have a predominant, they are all above average in areas where Muslims are prominent. Yeah, the town centres, the high streets, they do tend to be a bit more of a shithole. If you look at the cities, like I come from Derby, right? We've travelled here from Derby. Derby's my local city centre. Derby is voted the worst city centre in the UK many times over. There is one street in Derby where all the business goes to, and that's Normanton Road. They keep themselves. They don't put money into other businesses that are non-Muslim. They don't put money to charity that's non-Muslim. You hear it all the time, like, we Muslims, we give to charities. It all goes to Muslim charities that end up going to Gaza or going to Palestine or something like that, where you don't know where the money goes. So a lot of it probably goes to terrorist activities. But yeah, in terms of like, I mean, but there's evidence there to suggest that, to be honest with you. Well, I mean, like I say, off the top of my head, because my phone's here, I can't necessarily have a look at it, but we can have a look at the statistics and the facts, stuff like that.
I think that's jump to say that we don't know where all the money is going.
I mean, but it's the same. We can say the same with every charity. In all honesty, if you then flipped it around, I think Oxfam. I hate Oxfam. I hate the British Legion. I hate all the big name charities. The fact of the matter is, when you give money to a country that has got no rules, no regulations, there is nobody auditing it. No. So if you let me finish my sentence. No rules or regulations on where the charity money is being spent. There's no auditors there. There's no infrastructure there to have the auditors there. Do you see what I'm saying? So you could give that money and they don't have to account for it. In this country, for example, you give money to the British Legion, you give money to something else, they have to explain where they've accounted for it, because there's laws around it. There are ways of swindling the money, don't get me wrong, but over there it's completely different.
Per capita white people commit just as many crimes. I would argue that for me, the idea is not to in mass. I mean, unless it was a targeted mass deportation of criminals, regardless of religious or ethnic background, in which case white people have to get deported as well.
yeah. Yeah, so,
And
so,
I don't
yeah.
think that would be a particularly logical system. If crime is what you're hoping to sweep out, I'm completely with you. I don't like crime.
I mean, so then everybody's come here illegally over the water on a boat or on a plane and overstayed their visa, they need to go then, don't they, surely, because that's a crime.
Illegal?
So we've lost 50,000 illegals, they don't know where they are, that's come out, they need to be deported. Why would you go missing? So it's an interpretation, it's that idea we have this discussion now. If I just turn around and put a long list of people that I think we should be deported, you'd be like, right, I'm not even going to bother reading that. But I've said that. Now you've come to the table. It's made you come to the table and actually talk. So it served its purpose. So we've already established 50,000. And also, there's 200,000. 2 seconds. Sorry. There's 200,000. I like this. You know, we're not shouting at each other. It's good. But there are 200,000 Salafi Muslims in the UK. They need to go.
What are Salafi?
Salafi Muslims are right-wing conservative Muslims who believe everything that is written in the Quran is legit. So we need to have Sharia law in the UK. And that's an open statistic. You can Google that on your phone and it'll tell you now. And if Google tells you it's 200,000, my honest opinion is it's probably 400,000. But I can't turn around and prove that and justify that. According to Google, it's 200,000.
I don't think we should report on belief. If we, like, what I don't like about mass deportations fundamentally is that it is quite anti-individualism.
No, I'm all for individualism, yeah.
If you found 20,000 criminals who happen to have come here illegally, I actually think, and you committed crimes, so if you did that, and you said they all needed to be deported, I genuinely think it would be worth your time. And this is the way that the government does it, or that the police do at the end of it, is to go person by person. It's not, there's actually, I don't see a point in grouping by religious belief, nationality, race, because every criminal, regardless of that, deserves exactly the same treatment.
Yeah, look, that's it. We would agree on that. You are an individual. Yeah, you've come over here, you've spoke your mind, and that's great, and that's to be respected. Islam does not promote individualism, and you would know that. You know, you've obviously read it. It doesn't. Honestly, it doesn't. It's a very indoctrinated system. Yeah, and it doesn't apply to Western values. Honestly, I say this. Sorry. I don't say this. Yeah. So it's that idea of they've had chance to assimilate. They have had chance to assimilate. But you look at Birmingham, you look at Southall in London, you look at all these areas. I promise you, friend, there are places where me and you could go, right? You could come with me and set up our table. We could have our own different interpretations of mass deportation, because what we've already said from our own discussions, we both agree with mass deportations. It's just a case of the interpretation. Because you agree with criminals, there's a lot of criminals, yeah? So that's what I'm saying. So we both agree with that. People. Exactly. Listen, and this I'm saying. People turn around and think that I'm pro-government. I would probably do worse to the government than what the people on this side would. I would have people like Tony Blair hung from this building here by a rope. Rope is cheap, gravity is free. You know, I'm a veteran. I'm a veteran. I went to Afghanistan. We should never have been there. I lost friends over there because of lies. That's the reality of it. And this is the problem. So it's a case of we can all agree on these different things. Me and you can agree on 90% of things. Yeah, we have different ways to go about it. But back in the day, I'm 37. Even when I was a child, the country was so much better than what it is now. You had, you know, independent businesses that were thriving, high streets that were thriving, town centres, city centres. People enjoyed being part of a community. None of that now. There are places where me and you cannot go as non-Muslims in this country, and that's shit. In large parts of Birmingham. We would be handed out, yeah, absolutely. Some parts of Southall, Handsworth in Birmingham, I used to deliver there twice a week. So every 2 weeks. I used to often get told, what are you doing here? And I legit, if I would genuinely give you travel money, and I can show you some places, we can film it, and we would get looked at like we were pieces of shit. I promise you that now. I mean, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking? 25, that's what I'm saying. And you live in Leeds, yeah? Yeah, have you Have you been in Leeds like all your life pretty much? From London. Fair enough. That's what I'm saying. So you've been brought up in for a long time, London did actually work, but now it doesn't. Have you been back to London recently? And can you honestly look at London and think London is a shining example of what the United Kingdom can be? Every 57 minutes there is a sexual assault reported in London. That is disgraceful. It could be anybody, but the fact of the matter is, yeah, 50. Yeah, but so that's what I'm saying. No, but for me, a city that's got millions of people in it, where every 57 minutes somebody is sexually assaulted, that is fucking wrong. We need to stamp that out. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. With overall crime, like drug crime, all that kind of thing. But like when you look into the subsections, it's different. Like rape and sexual assaults are massively overrepresented with the black community and the Pakistani community. That's just the sad reality of it. Knife crime again is the same. Knife crime in London. Just because we don't want to make it sound like we're racist, we need to do this. We need to have these problems. We have a lot of problems in the white community. But if you came to me and said, right, there's these problems in the white community, I'd say, yeah, let's get rid of them. Let's sort it out. Let's do something about it.
This is where I think it's damaging that you're not going by individualism first. You accused the Quran and, well, yeah, you said the Quran was totally anti-individualism.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's level about because you are not promoting individualism.
What do you mean I'm not promoting it?
You're not promoting individualism because you are choosing to prioritise dealing with crimes committed by people of certain religious or ethnic backgrounds in different orders.
Keep it up, mate.
Rather than just dealing with every single individual who does it. At the end of the day, each victim is hurt regardless of the ethnic or religious and so on background of the assailant. So I don't think that the race or the religions and so on the assailant matters in the slightest bit.
Yeah, well, that's fair. Let me say this counter, you know. So in that response of like, it's a case of when you consider that it's the radicals of Islam that do the things that they do, that's when you understand the problem, you know. Look at all these really, really bad attacks. You know, look at the Southport man. This is what they do when they're extreme. You know, when you look at that, when you look at the equivalent of someone that's a white native person, when do you see these people going into Manchester arenas and blowing themselves up? When do you see these going into Southport dance classes and stabbing people? See what I mean? This is why, don't get me wrong, like I say, all crime is bad. And I want a system where crime massively pays. In all honesty, like this is the reality of it. I want people that are deported. And if somebody, let's say somebody, we get a paedophile in this country that's born here. I would quite like to ship them to El Salvador, which would probably be a fate worse than what we would be deported them. Exactly. So it's that idea of the crime is bad. I would happily tackle it, you know. So, but the main thing is, when you're talking about this, we have to deal with this problem because we have 200,000 Salafi Muslims. We have the Muslim Brotherhood active here. No, that was for the grooming gangs. But the Salafi Muslims, that's a fact. You can Google that.
40,000 Salafis and then
No. I said the Salafi Muslims, 200,000.
watch back the footage.
Yeah. The grooming gangs I was talking about. That's not the Salafi.
Earlier in this interview, well not interview, sorry, this conversation, you said that there were 40,000 Salafi Muslims and that you estimated that would be 200,000, but you just didn't prove it.
No. So that was the grooming gangs. So you can look it back. Honestly, it's on there anyway. You can look it back. That one was the grooming gangs. The Salafi, you can Google it on your phone right now. If you Google Salafi Muslims, how many Salafi Muslims in the UK? It will say between 100,000 and 200,000. Yeah. Yeah. And then you've also got the Muslim Brotherhood that is active here. The Muslim Brotherhood has been banned in all these Islamic countries for being too extreme. But we allow it to come here and we allow it to thrive. And we allow it to basically preach its bullshit. Yeah? And it is a complete problem. Yeah? Do you understand? That's what I'm saying. Yeah? Are we agreed on that? Yeah? That's what I'm saying. Look at what the Salafi Muslims do. When you look into it further, Google will try and gaslight you a bit. But ever since Muhammad Hijab, he's a Salafi Muslim. He openly turns around. He's had an interview the other month. We Muslims need to be the consequence. Islamophobia is massive. So we need to stop punishing these people. Punishing people for what? For questioning their religion. There's an interview about that. Do you want? Yeah, no worries.
Again, so you're saying that Salafi Muslims have beliefs that lead to crime.
But it leads to extremism. And extremism in this country, like I say, whether or not you believe in 9/11, look at what a small amount of them did in 9/11. Look at what a couple of them did in London, 7/7. Look at what happened on October the 7th in Israel. Regardless of what you want to talk about, we could have a long, lengthy conversation about Zionism and about how I think it heavily influences the West to the point where it's bad. But a lot of the victims on October the 7th in Israel had nothing to do with Zionism and were part of the many Israelites that were probably going to vote Benjamin Netanyahu out of office. They were innocent people.
I don't see why anyone says it was a better system than just arrest every criminal.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, but these criminals, just because we have criminals in the UK, that is bad. If we have criminals that is a possibility to deport, we should do, because we'll have less criminals. What is the point in letting the criminals you all pay tax money? I'm assuming you work, yeah? You work, you pay tax. I work, I pay tax. Why should our tax money go to housing criminals? Why should it go to housing criminals? We should fuck them off. We have a pact with Pakistan where they would take any amount of criminals that have committed a crime in this country. We give them £10,000 and they say, right, what's the sentence? What have they done? Right, okay, this is our honour to you. This is what we're going to do, and they've given to us. We've had it in place for about 10 years. Why have none of them gone over there? Why have we not? We've not sent any of them over there because it's a corrupt system. It's a corrupt system, and Shabama Mahmood is going to be our next Prime Minister, and there is a plan for Muslims to take over in the UK. It's as simple as that. And the moderates will just stand around and take it. Have you read the history of the Iranian Revolution? Have a look at it. It's exactly what's going on now. I won't bore you with it because it'll take hours, to be honest with you, and you won't take the thing. But if you look at the history of the Iranian Revolution, it was suicidal empathy. Everybody started to hate the king and hate the royal family in Iran. And this radical flipping sect then came up and said, right, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And suicidal empathy led to the Iranian uprising. And now look at what the Iranian government's done. I could take you to a place in Golders Green, and that mural is getting bigger by the day. It goes from the main road and it goes down the side street. It goes for fucking meters, and all these different pictures, and they're adding to it every single day. That's what happens when radical Islam takes over. The moderate Muslims, if you can call them that. What's that? No, I'm not saying there's something bad about a mural. I'm saying, look at the mural, like that. The victims are massive. The amount of victims that are there.
People are dead.
Yeah.
They're putting the pictures up. Yeah, they're putting the pictures of the dead person.
Yeah.
I don't know about the mural. I was thinking something else.
No. Honestly, have a look at it. Google it. Golders Green Memorial to the Iranians, right? And it is smashed up and it is attacked on a weekly basis. They are having to repair it all the time, right? But as you look at it, it goes on the main road. And it's there, like there's a load of it, but then before you know it, it just goes straight down, and it goes down as far as the eye can see.
So, yeah, I mean, okay. Put it this way, you can find a mass of criminals who do not have leave to remain in the country.
But leave to remain's bullshit. Yeah. Sorry, yeah, I apologise.
If you find a mass criminals who do not have legal rights to remain in the country, that mass is one that deserves to be deported. I will agree with you completely. But for me, it's got to be criminals who are getting deported. An individual has to be a criminal, and I find it worrying that you're bringing up ideologies and interpretations of books potentially before those ideologies are even acted upon. Because as soon as they're acted upon and a crime is committed, if you're saying that's what the ideologies do, then the ideology doesn't matter because the crime has been committed, right? I think that if I wanted to be an annoying hard leftist or something like that, then I could say, well, hey, England football games cause a huge amount of domestic violence. We should ban the BBC from broadcasting.
But that's what about you, my friend. That's what about you. Do I say? I agree. If you turned around and said to me, "I'm starting a campaign about let's get rid of football thuggery," I would join up with you.
Oh, hang on, but you've said football thuggery, right? So, but I'm worried that if we make that analogy between our potential enemies, I would ban football thuggery, not football. Whereas I feel like in my position, you would ban football, not football thuggery.
Not necessarily, no. Like I say, it's a case of so everybody that's come here, right, on the boats, on the planes, whatever else, illegally, they are criminals, they need to be deported. The fact of the matter is, if we start looking down that route, the vast majority of people that would get deported would be Muslims because they're coming from Muslim countries. Yeah, when they're committing crimes on a disproportionate rate, that is Muslims. When they are going here and they are talking about this, when they are complicit, when the Muslim MPs, they are not talking about these problems that they've got, they are complicit. So the problem, unfortunately, is Islam because, like I say, it's this idea of you've got this. If you look at the English Constitution, which is like complete law, even before all of this, the Muslims shouldn't even be here. So do we bring it back to that so we can just get rid of all of them? Because that technically is law. But my argument will always be this: right, the illegals, get rid of them. The one when you talked about leave to remain, if we had an inquiry where I meant a lot of these people that were here with leave to remain were here. We're here, is it criminal activity or something like that, or it was done unjustifiably, or it was done dishonestly. Let's say somebody was making personal gain. Let's say someone was making a shit ton of money, taking bribes to sign off on all these leave to remains. Should they be rendered invalid, and then should then that process start again?
I corrected leave to remain to illegally.
Yeah.
So I think that would cover the people.
No, that's a bit. Yeah.
To remain illegally by bribe.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So in all honesty, there is argument there for the last 10, 15 years. For the vast majority of these people that have been leave to remain have been done under unjust causes and. Sorry, I keep getting distracted with that over there. Sorry. Yeah, it's like this idea of the leave to remain people that are here, it's been undone justifiably. It's been done dishonestly. People have bribed their way towards leave to remain, and it shouldn't happen. People have used different schemes. And,
Yeah, sorry. I think when we get to the specifics, it's quite an interesting conversation. I just don't like the scale of your conclusions in a way. You said one thing.
I'm just listening to you talk. This young man here has got facts, figures, statistics, numbers, proof, in other words, of whatever he's saying. What the other side seem to do is just throw out comments without backing up with information. So if you can give some figures, some numbers, some understanding of his numbers, that's what you need to do to have a real proper nailed down discussion. So if he says 50,000 people have committed rape in this country, You might say, yeah, but only 7% are Muslims or migrants. If that was the case, that's what you should be saying now. But he's winning the argument all day long because he is backing himself up with statistics, with numbers from the government official numbers. And you can't argue with numbers, can you?
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. And I said, this is the thing. I think.
No, you don't have to listen. You haven't listened.
Yeah, I work for Guardian.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, well, actually,
You do that as well, don't you?
Yeah, sorry, I mean, it's all right.
Firstly, I want to make the rebuttal to that if that's Canada, and I wish he'd stay.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm trying to argue a principle of the law that would work against it. Not everything can be broken into statistics. There's no statistic that says that murder is wrong. It just is.
Well, yes, the laws that say murder is wrong.
That's not a statistic. It's not a number. So that's why I'm not. And also, like, yeah, you do have more numbers this year, and I'm not arguing.
And I will turn. I'm sorry to be interrupted there, but I will say.
I'm listening to you.
Yeah, no. So I was going to say, I'm backing up what you say here. I've done my research before here, so that I've got to accept that, and I hope the viewers can accept that as well. It's that idea of I've had to go away and do my research. So fair play, and that's what I'm saying. I'm backing up what you're saying. So I do apologise for interrupting you. I'm just saying I am on your side with that. Yeah, I'm.
The other thing is, I've listened to you. It's not in numbers that I'm disagreeing with, because it would be stupid to disagree with numbers when I don't have any. So
Yeah.
I understand. The listening to you is you're educating me about numbers, but now you've given me the numbers that you have, and I disagree with the conclusions that you've come to.
That's fair enough. Yeah, that's fair enough.
Because like those numbers, as I think what I was going to say before I was interrupted by that is that you summarised Islam is the problem. We haven't talked about moderates, as you call them, because huge numbers, and you will know as well as I do that there are loads and loads and loads of roads.
They don't follow the Quran, so they're not Muslims. That's the reality of it. Like it's like when somebody turns back.
And therefore not to follow the Bible. So are they Christian?
So it might be this is it. Sorry, yeah.
Religions do change over time.
Yeah,
as does everything. Science changes over time because we start understanding and we start changing those distinctions. I'm not religious myself.
This is where we all go wrong there, my friend. Sorry to put in, but like I say, in my opinion, a gay person could turn around and say he's Catholic. A gay person can't turn around and say they're Muslim. You know, a Muslim can't do the things that he can do and then claim to be Muslim. The vast majority of Muslims don't actually read the Quran. And this is why there's a problem with the moderates, because then the imams will come forward, the extremists will come forward, and we've seen it in history time and time again. We've seen it in Lebanon, we've seen it in Syria, we've seen it in Iran. When the extremists come out and say, this is what the Quran says, I'm going to kill everybody who's not the problem, the moderates step aside, or the moderates join in, because they don't want to make it out. It's like, oh shit.
I'd say often the moderates do speak against, such as the United Arab Emirates, who've spoken out against the Brotherhood and in favour of America's attacking us.
So who's done it here? What predominant leader has done it here? In Europe, what predominant imam has spoke out against Muslims, against extremism, and spoke out against agreement against Islam? There's absolutely not. The problem is, and I'll say this, in some defence, the only time people have spoke out or have turned around and said, I'm different to everybody else, they've either been threatened or killed. There was one imam in, I think it was Belgium, I can't say for sure where it was, but you can research this. There was one gay imam who came out as gay. 24 hours later, he was beheaded on the streets of Europe.
And that's terrible.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Regardless of why they commit this crime, the reasoning is not. Do you suggest that we ban the Quran altogether?
I mean, personally, I believe there should be some form of banning religion in public altogether. That's my honest opinion. While we have the problems that we have, just banning it altogether. Like I say, for me personally, I think society should go back to more to Christianity, if I'm being honest, because Christianity built. No, I didn't say it, but this is the thing. I think if in an ideal world, but the public would start to go back to Christianity because Christian views actually shape this nation. But while we have this problem that we have, you know, like all these churches, they're all literally throwing the pride flags out. Nobody goes to church anymore because they've come out in public and they've waved around these pride flags and all this kind of shit. That doesn't agree with Christian values. It doesn't. Yeah, individuals can be that way. We have protected laws, but for now, until we get to grips with the situation, I think there should be a genuine ban to publicly demonstrating religion in public.
Okay. I think the board is disagreement, not in a hostile way. You think that someone who values should not match everything within the religious scripture, the religion that they claim to be, can be of that religion. I think that religion can and has done will continue to change over time. I think that moderate Muslimism is like every bit as much as a radical community, because I think it's all about what someone believes as an individual. So I also think that Muslim is still a Christian.
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from in that there are parts of their respective religious texts that certainly not support those parts of their values. I don't think that punishes them from the religion itself. I don't think any of that talking about it.
Yeah, like I say, honestly, like religion has been watered down massively, and that's the problem. Like just the fact that you have that opinion of it, it's like every club is an exclusive club. You have rules to get into that club. When you then break those rules, you're not part of that club anymore. And that's honestly how I see it. You know, if me and you had if I lived in Leeds right now, and we had an exclusive club, let's say Fight Club, we would have our rules for Fight Club. You can't go against them. Religion is exactly the same. Religion is a structure and a textbook that turns around and says, this is how you should live. Yeah, again, that's what I'm saying. I agree with that to some extent, I say. But, like I say, it's just been watered down massively. It's been watered down. People turn around and say, I can be trans and I can be a Muslim. I can be trans, I can be gay, I can be Christian. I'm sorry, mate. It's just completely against it.
I guess the reason is because I think the religion is man-made.
Oh, absolutely, it's man-made, yeah.
Then mankind, humans, decide the rules, and it seems like people have largely decided that the religion that their ancestors made can be changed.
Yeah, but here's the thing though, right? So you get it a lot with Christianity, yeah. We get a lot with Christianity, we get other things. The problem that all these religions have, their religious textbooks are written by multiple people with multiple ideas, and it's all been a collective idea of what you should be. The Quran is written by one man. That one man was a 7th century warlord who basically who created a religion through conquest. If you look at every single last thing, he turned around and said, you've heard of the story of the Dajjal, yeah? The Dajjal in the Quran. Because you said you've read the Quran. Come on, the Dajjal is it's the end of times, yeah? So the Dajjal is when Jesus comes down and saves everybody. And the reason why he made up that story is so he could get a load of Christians to be involved with his cause. Yeah? He also promotes that the Jewish prophet is part of the Quran as well. But there's two conflicting different feelings. You wouldn't have those feelings in one book. Muhammad basically tried to get a load of people together for conquest. That was it. And the man had no morals. And that's what I'm saying. He built that book. That book was never going to be a big hit with modernisation, with modern feelings, and with any kind of empathy when you have got a man who married a 6-year-old child of his best friend and said, I'm going to wait until she's 3 years later till I'm going to fuck her. I'm going to wait till she's 9 years old. You are basically living off the morals of that man. That's why my opinion is Islam needs to be completely expunged from the West. I would love to live in a world where Islam didn't exist, don't get me wrong. But back to what you were saying before about I've got an extreme view, you've got your view. The reason why I think it's important is because I've got my view, you've got your view. At some point, somebody has to meet in the middle, because we, as a society, we have every single opportunity we've had, we've voted against mass deportations. We have voted to get out of Brexit. We have voted for controlled borders at every single opportunity. What's that? Yeah, but what? But that's what I'm saying. It's not. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We voted for safer borders. We voted for everything. And in that time, the government's turned around and said, "Fuck you. I'm not interested." You know, we don't. We have never had Brexit. We've never had it. Yeah, we've never once had it. Yeah, we voted for secure borders. One of the main reasons we voted for Brexit was for secure borders. We didn't get those secure borders. Yeah, it's just fucking nonsense. So at some point, until we gain that extreme view, people aren't going to listen to the middle. So we say, this is our view. You've not listened to the middle point, so this is our extreme view. Now we're going to start doing the things that we need to do. If you want us to listen, you need to start looking back at the things that we did ask for, and you said no. Maybe there's some point we can meet in the middle. But for now, the government, nobody else, has allowed us to have that opportunity. And I hope we can agree on that.
Well, in terms of like, there's too much division between like two extremes, and there's not enough people willing to accept people from people who don't. I mean, that's why I was sat down and had a conversation.
Fantastic, and I appreciate you for it.
Yeah, no, in the past, I really come and walked up.
That's all right. No, you think, well, that's your entitlement.
I think it's always worth having a conversation, isn't it? Not being hostile when neither of us are going to go off down in the street and change.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. But at some point, like I said, my kind of end goal is to help create a movement that is going to give us direct democracy in this country. Without our system does not work. Did I say you're 25? Yeah. For the past 30 years, we've installed governments where they have not taken our views. Everything that we've asked them to do, they've not listened to. Not one. Yeah.
Which government did a good job?
So Labour government did a crap job. Conservative did a crap job. Oh.
Can you think of a government that you like?
So at this moment in time, no, I can't think of a government that I like. No. To be honest with you, in history, you can. So there's some arguments for Thatcher government, but again, there's a lot of arguments against. There's certain areas that probably disagree with that.
No government can make 80 million people happy.
That's fair enough. But at the minute, for the past 30 years, our government has made 50 million people unhappy, 60 million people unhappy.
That's definitely true.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The argument, let's say, what has this Labour government done for anybody that's given unity, that's given hope for the future? All it's done is install issue after issue after issue, division after division, right? When a Muslim goes into a school, when a Muslim goes into a dance class, right, and kills a load of children, he was a Welsh choir boy who did nothing wrong. There was no talk of him by the Prime Minister to say it's Islamic extremism, we need to tackle it. When people turn around on the opposite side and then protest, it's far right thuggery. So why is it political on one side? And that's what I'm saying. It's to cause division, my friend. It's to cause absolute division.
What's happening over there?
I have no idea. Is that them gone?
Yeah, I tried to tap you then because it's a good photo.
I saw.
There's a paratrooper there and he went to say goodbye to him all, so it was funny as fuck.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Because they're opposed the army.
I think I've got to go now.
Yeah, no worries.
It's been an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
I think I just don't. You've not convinced me that.
That's fair.
Grouping of criminals is important. I still think that every criminal should just be treated as an individual and punished.
No, I completely agree. So when we've got disproportionate things, you have to look at these factors. It's like, for example, criminology turns around and says we have to look at patterns. We have to. Can we both agree on that? Criminology turns around and says we have to look at patterns. Why is crime being committed? Why is it that shoplifting is being committed on levels that we've never seen before? We can't just treat that as individuals. We've got to turn around and say, why is there such a rise in it? You know, why have rapes gone up exponentially since And this is a fact, you can look at this. Why has rape gone up exponentially since we've allowed people to go on the boats? Since we've allowed people to come over? It's basically turned around and said, right, okay, immigration has gone up, and at that same time, rape has gone up, the exact same curvature.
I would say it's more important that the economic stability has come down. So I think
that could be a factor.
And at least funding has gone down as well. Because I think politics and principles should be based on ideals. And for me, an ideal is that no matter how many panels there are, they can all be treated as individuals. Yeah, I can see why it's really different. Underfunded police things that's dealing with the biggest population ever. I don't think that we should try and take very murky, questionable shortcuts in order to try and get them down. I think that there's too many dangers in that. I'm not trying to accuse you of anything here, but I think that route that ability of discrimination that would make society worse as well. Because there will be a lot of people who aren't willing to sit down and have a half-hour conversation about it.
Well, we've had a 55-minute one, so
no, so I think we've got to keep working towards the idea that every criminal always is treated as an individual, no matter how much crime there is. I think that's always going to how you have to. That's the way to get.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, but it has been a good conversation.
No, yeah, definitely. But like I said, my main thing to you, you've got, in my opinion, this is, like I said, no disrespect, you've got suicidal empathy, which is not necessarily a bad thing overall, yeah? Suicidal empathy, like the empathy side of it is good. It's good. No, but that suicidal empathy of not addressing certain things, like, I appreciate what you're saying, and I appreciate the fact that you have got empathy, but when the suicidal empathy part comes into the fact that the downfall of society has basically coexisted alongside all this other stuff, like positive discrimination, allowing people to come over here to say that they're fleeing war, allowing all this other shit, it's all gone in hand. So it's suicidal empathy, yeah? And this is where I think, get rid of that, and like I say, take down this, take down my YouTube channel, take a photograph of it, bring to me your stats, and we'll have a massive discussion in here, and then maybe if I come here again, we can come here and we can have another long conversation. But at some point there is going to be mass civil unrest in this country. It's not been caused by us. Mass civil unrest in this country. Mass civil unrest. Civil unrest, yeah. And it's not been caused by us. We will be part of it. I don't know what's going on over there. Right, yeah, so there's a load of stuff going off over there. But yeah, there's mass civil unrest in this country. People are at boiling point. People hate the society that's become the way it has. And the main thing is, my advice to you is do your research, look at it, and then figure out which side you're going to be on. Because unfortunately, in a lot of wars, you don't have to pick a side. But when there's going to be something on this kind of scale, you have to pick a side. You have to understand it. For me, I look at the ideas of fair democracy. I look at this idea of, I'm happy for you to come here, but they have to work. Somebody who comes here illegally, or somebody comes here who's not been born in this country, should not be entitled to benefits, should not be entitled to any of that kind of stuff. But they allow that, you know, like we have our own problems, with our own criminals, with our own people that don't have jobs. So why should we allow other people to come here and take those? But yeah. I don't kind of like to, but I say, so that's what I'd ask you to go away for. But anyway, honestly, it's actually been a good chat. It's been a good chat. No worries. Have a good day. Yeah, and you.
I'll see you around, mate. See you later, mate. You have a good one.
If you want, yeah. But I am massively sorry about that, guys. I would have said there was a protest here, but there wasn't much of one. There was like 4 people, all with their signs, and yeah, there wasn't really much to see. There was probably about 100 auditors, and there's obviously this guy here. he's got, he came up respectfully. We had a good conversation, and that to me is what it's all about. But I don't know if you could hear the sound. I know there's a lot of wind. I don't know what the sound was like, but I hope you got quite a bit of that. Yeah, it was a bit of a washout. If you can see, there's not really much going on now. Yeah, we might go see somewhere else, see if there's anything we can do today. But yeah, it was good. It was good. Hopefully he'll go away, look at some of the facts I said. And thank you very much, Saxon, my brother. Thank you, GA. Thank you. I was worried. Like I say, I didn't have the microphone. I'll be honest with you. We came in, thought it was going to be a washout, but we had a good conversation, which was the main thing. That's it's one of them. Like the main thing for me, and this is the problem. He was just another young lad who has got suicidal empathy, and it's not a bad thing. He's had his life. And that's that. We can't. Sorry, I keep getting distracted here. I do apologise. Yeah. Perhaps a shirt left. Sorry, I don't know what's going on in the chat. I haven't been keeping on top of it. But I hope you've all been having a good, decent conversation. But yeah, so yeah, he's just a young lad. He was a nice guy, respectable, but just a suicidal empathy. We have to get tough. We have to be a tough society to basically win our country back. There's no point. Tough society, toughness and strict rules bring prosperity. And yeah, there we go. Anyway, I've waffled on enough now. My brain's a bit gone. But anyway, I hope I've done all right, guys. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Like I say, a bit of a washout here. We was expecting a large crowd. Everybody keeps saying to us, yeah, Leeds are going to be massive. But we got two lads here. They were expecting a fight, weren't you? This one, he was looking at. He's got his gear. He's got his gym gear on, ready for a fight. Nah, I get you. We're joking. Anyway, you have a fantastic day, everybody, and I hope you all got something out of that. I did. It was good. Hopefully the young lad will reach out and get back to me, but we'll see. But thank you ever so much for your support. I massively appreciate it. Honestly, I value every single last one of you. I didn't think I'd be in this position in this short space of time, but there's a lot of people on here that have pushed me and helped me on the way. I'd like to see a bit more unity, if I'm being honest with you. It would be fantastic if we could all start building on friendships, because unfortunately, guys, bad stuff is coming. Bad stuff is absolutely coming. It's in the background, and we need to be prepared for it. We need to be unified for it. I know we've had our little spouts here and there. I've tried to keep out of most of them. My honest opinion is, and I've said this, if somebody is the other side of the world preaching that you should commit violence, that person is no good, right? Even if that person's got 40 or 50,000 subscribers, I don't care, or 300,000 subscribers. If they want to take back this country, they should be here, right? But if you guys are having a debate and having an argument, if you saw that person being kicked to death right in front of you, would you walk past that person, or would you go in and try and save that person? If the answer is you would try and save that person, I think there is argument there for you to actually try and make up with those people. Like I said this to a lot of people. I've genuinely said this to a lot of people. Yeah, no, I agree. It was. The fact that I think it was a big stream. There was a lot of people in that stream that were being coerced into talking about violence. I'm sorry to say it, but that's the reality of it. We're all one people. We're all one blood. Yeah, our culture and our country literally built what you see around you in the world, and we should build on that. We should honour their memory. Today, just down there, they're honouring people that fought and died in 2 world wars. Yeah, they fought for good reasons. They were proper men, and we should honour their memory by making Britain great again, because it was. Britain stopped child slavery. Britain did so many things. The world is a better place because of the British Empire. Shit bus. They ended slavery before everybody else did. It's a fantastic, fantastic memory. It's a fantastic culture to be a part of, and we are a long line of fantastic people. We need to build on that. But yeah, I've waffled on enough, guys. Honestly, massive appreciation to every single one of you.
The arrest was because of his speech about grooming gangs. It was an arrest, mate.
What, one of our lot?
Yeah, yeah, it was because of what he'd said about grooming gangs, but I'm unsure of what he'd said.
Okay, that's a shame, that's a shame. Take care, everybody, guys. Honestly.